Despite what you may hear, even from well-intentioned people, the truth is you absolutely can add someone to FamilySearch Family Tree who isn't your relative. This could be a neighbor, an associate, or even someone who lived with your family during a census enumeration. By the end of this video, you'll not only know that you can add non-relatives, you'll know exactly how to do it confidently and correctly. Howdy, welcome to Family History Fanatics. If you're new here, I'm Devin Noel Lee, and I like to help you keep family history fun by teaching you how to use your tools more efficiently. And one of those tools is FamilySearch. Now, I have the honor of serving as a FamilySearch Center volunteer, and I run into a lot of questions. But sometimes I run into some misunderstandings or falsehoods about the FamilySearch website that I like to help correct. Let me share the experience I had that sparked this video. I was sitting in a genealogy workshop, happily taking notes about the topic the instructor was presenting on, when they made an offhanded comment that said, "You can't add non-related persons to the FamilySearch family tree." In my head, I immediately went, yeah, you can. I do it all the time. And y'all, the urge to raise my hand and lovingly correct the instructor was very strong. But my inner genealogist said, calm down. This was a good-hearted instructor doing their best to help people. And the class topic did not have anything to do with not adding relatives or adding non-relatives to the tree. So instead of taking over the class and debating the individual, I took a deep breath and said, I'll make a video about this. But since I don't know you and I don't want to jump in with the solution, if you don't even know why you would add a non-relative to the family tree, let's start there and then we'll get into the practical steps. For more experienced family history fanatics, stick with me for a few moments and then share your thoughts on why folks add non-family members to the family tree. So let's tackle the question, why would I add someone who is not my relative to the FamilySearch family tree? Simply put, sometimes those non-relatives have the clues you need to build your family tree. Here's a common example. A non-relative may be neighbors on land records that help you know that you're researching your John Smith, not my John Smith. In other words, there are individuals who give you the context clues you need to separate individuals with the same name so that you can line up the right people. Tell me, what location do you research that has the most repeated names within the families? For instance, for Andy, it's Cornwall, England, St. Kevin. Richard loves to marry a Mary and have a daughter named Mary. Typically, when I'm doing family history research, I'm starting with a family member, and then I find a record, and I'll go into SourceLeaker to attach it to the known family member. So often you will come across a source, and in this case, we have one for a Richard Poland. I believe it's a misspelling of the surname Poling. Surname spellings happen frequently. I'm not too worried about it. But when I want to attach this record to his profile, the source linker page may look something like this. We have Richard Poland to a Richard Poling, and then the family lines up. Looking down here, there's a John Spoon and a Jonas Poling that are not attached to the FamilySearch family tree. So let's go into the 1850 census and figure out what's going on. Now, in the 1850 census, if you remember or if you're new, this record does not identify relationships. It only has the head of household And then there's an enumeration book that tells the enumerator how to record the family in a certain order to imply relationships. So we can infer some, but we may not be able to actually name them. But we go down, we have a Richard Poling, a Catherine, Elizabeth, and an Eli, and all of these folks until we get to John Spoon, who is a laborer at the age of 27, and then a Jonas Poland, 19, laborer. And because Jonas is not part of this family cluster, he is not necessarily considered one of these kiddos, especially since he's 19. And this couple has a 19-year-old male named Eli. So this is trying to suggest, hey, they're not twins. It is a potential other relative or a non-relative who just happens to have the same surname. Got that straight? So what if we wanted to add John Spoon to the family tree and keep track of him because he may show up in future records later? So here's the meat of the video. There are two options for adding non-relatives to the FamilySearch family tree, and both require that you add the new profile before you link a source to it. I might call it attaching a source. I use those terms interchangeably, but you need to create the profile and then connect the sources. These are the online documents that FamilySearch has, or the sources that you can add to support the existence of this individuals. Now, starting back on the profile page, because I didn't leave this page open, I'm going to open Richard Poling's personal profile page, okay? His person page. Now, FamilySearch likes to make you click a lot of things, so I'm going to click this one because he is in the family tree that this census record is connected to, and then I'm going to click his name again to open his person profile page. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down on the details page. Make sure you're in the details page. Scroll, 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 scroll. Now, your page may not be set up the same way as mine. If it's not, be sure to check out this My Layout settings to alter some of the blocks and to turn off some facts here or there. Regardless, keep going, 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 going until you get to a block that says Other Relationships. That's the one you want. And then click on Add Other Relationship. We are working this connection from Richard Poland because he is the head of household in this record, and all relationships in census records tend to be, how is this person related to the head of household? That's the ideal in the U.S. Census records. So I'm going to use him as the base person for this other relationship. Click on Other Relationship. And while we can establish various relationships right here, I have found it works better when you add the person and then add the relationship. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add the person, and I'm going to fill out this form with information about John Spoon from the census record. Now, from that 1850 census record, I know his name is John Spoon. He is a male. And because he showed up in the 1850 census, and he was 19 years old, I'm going to assume, make a safe assumption that he's deceased. In the record, it said he was 19, and if you do the math, he was born about 1823, and I like to go ahead and at least give a start date to start the process going. It said he was born in Ohio, so I went ahead and selected that. I have no other information to add, so I'm going to go down here and click Next. FamilySearch will let you know if they found a potential match based on the information they gave. Now, John could be in the FamilySearch family tree, and I could take the time to research him out fully, but sometimes it's best to research based on what you have so you don't lose the detail that you have John. So go ahead and create a new profile for John. Now that that profile is created, I'm going to go ahead and choose a relationship. There's several I can choose from: apprenticeship, employment, enslavement, godparent, household, neighbor, relative. For John Spoon, I'm going to put employment. And now you have employer, employee. If I happen to misalign the relationship, I could use these arrows to switch it, that John hired Richard. I can also use household. It's probably more accurate in this situation. A neighbor could also work, but not really, because he's not in a separate household. So let's go ahead and use household in this situation. Richard is the head and John is the occupant. And we're going to go ahead and click save. Now we have the household John, and we want to go ahead and add a note. I'm going to do it right now when I create it. So I'm going to scroll down for note. I'm going to put 1850 census household. Now that I have this note, I'm going to click save. And what's really great about this, we have the household note, so that anytime somebody sees this occupant relationship, they can click on it and see, oh, 1850 census. Well, now I need that source so that I can link it here as well. So I can go back to the source linker page. Sources for Richard Poling, unfinished attachment was the way I got in there. And now I have a John Spoon over here because he's related to Richard in this household connection, even though he's not a relative. So this is a really nice feature that FamilySearch has added in recent years. So I'm going to go over here, and on the tree, I'm going to change the person to John Spoon. Notice how far I had to scroll down to get to him. John Spoon right there. And by changing this person, FamilySearch says, hey, I'm guessing you want this person to attach the record, and they guessed correctly. If that doesn't happen, then all you have to do is click change person, and let's pretend for a moment that we really wanted Jonas Poland, and then you can go ahead and make that attachment there. But I don't want Jonas, I want John. So I can go through, and now I can bring over the relevant details, fill out a reason statement, and then click attach. So that's the first way that you can attach a non-related person to the FamilySearch family tree, and then add the sources from the research, that live research you're doing, and you can keep building out the tree. Now, the second way comes in handy in the rare cases when you're working on a community or association research project, like the Ohio 133rd Civil War Regiment I talked about on this channel previously. You may come across a situation where you have them in a record, but they're not connected because they're an associate, and FamilySearch doesn't really do military units or community research projects where you're adding everybody from a community and they're not necessarily neighbors. They could be across town. In those rare instances, you might want to use this situation. You need to get into the family tree portion of this massive website. Click on family tree. And then you want to click on recents. Now, let's say you were working on somebody's person profile or any of these other options. You just have to navigate from one of these options to the recent menu. You could also be, let's say you were on Richard Poling's page. You're in the tree, you can click recents in this way, and you can get the menu rather than the page. But you have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll until you get to unconnected person. That's if you're in the menu option. Let's go back to the actual page version. Recently viewed people, scroll, 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 all the way down until unconnected person. Either way, what you're looking for is unconnected person. Click on that, and guess what? You fill out the form the same way I showed you for John Spoon. You click next, and then FamilySearch will see if that there is any possible match. If there's not, create a profile. If there is, review it and see if that might be the person you were looking for and FamilySearch was able to find them. So when I advocate adding non-relatives to the family tree, it's not to create a clutter and send you down rabbit trails researching someone who isn't your family. It's about breaking through brick walls. And if you're new, a genealogy brick wall is when you've reached the end of the line in your ancestral heritage and you don't know who to research next. In some cases, you will find who to research next by adding those non-relatives. Now, if you want to hear more about how to research and track those non-relatives you may want to research, check out my video about fan club research. I will link the video in the description box or in the information card. Now you know how to add non-relatives to FamilySearch Family Tree and why you would do this. But there are a few big cautions that you need to be mindful of when adding unrelated people to the tree so that we can keep the one world family tree as healthy and reliable as possible. Now, I'll cover that in a separate video, so be sure to check the description box for that video's link. If you have other questions on how to use FamilySearch or any other genealogy platforms, be sure to drop them in the comment section below or check out the Family History Fanatics website, familyhistoryfanatics.com, and you can find the contact form to send me a question. Until next time, have fun climbing your family tree and be sure to have all the fun you can by using everything efficiently. See you next time. Let's say you aren't in this sense,